Hey, it's Amanda J. I'm here to talk to you about something that happened to me 30 years ago, and I'm still doing it. I'm 50. I don't know how many of you know that, but 30 years ago in September, this was 1994, I became a vegetarian. And except having lobster on my 30th birthday, yep, that's right, I have been vegetarian and not worried about meat since, except about other people having it, and we'll get onto that later in the conversation. I wanted to make a video to celebrate. It is my 51st birthday next month. I became vegetarian on the month before I was 21. On my 21st birthday, when I went out to dinner with my parents and my brother, my mum said I'd ruined the dinner because I had to be fussy with my ordering and she was embarrassed. So I've put up with a lot of shit being a vegetarian. I've had like work dinners and stuff like that where they've taken me to just restaurants where the only vegetarian thing you can get is a salad, and I hate salads, except really exquisite ones that I will make for you during this summer. That's in a few months. And we've just started spring. Excuse me while I have some snacks. These are vegetarian chickpea chips from the Indian store. I love them. They're so crunchy and delicious. And I don't think they're too unhealthy either. I haven't looked at the packet yet. Everything in the Indian shop is healthy. So the reason I became a vegetarian, I had a one-night stand with this guy, and it was super woo. And he was vegetarian, so I thought, oh hey, that sounds interesting. I might try that out. I love animals. And I went out to dinner with him a few weeks or months later, and I was ordering my vegetarian meal, and there was a heap of us there and everyone was ordering meat meals and stuff like that. And then it came to his turn to order, and he ordered a seafood meal. So he obviously gave up vegetarianism, and he gave up the pussy because he became gay. And I saw him, say, 15 years after that, and he didn't even know who I was and didn't remember the night when I explained it and stuff like that. So, yeah, what do you know? I did it for a man that didn't even love me, but look at the results that I've had, and I'm going to tell you about the most amazing story, and I hope you will enjoy it. I don't know how long it's going to take me to record this, and I'm practicing with my editing skills, so bear with me, soldiers, and listen to my tale. Stay with us while we have some ad breaks from my personal side hustle, which is currently Loved Up Amanda on the platform Depop. I sell all sorts of things. Go and check it out. If you love fashion, if you love homewares, if you love cool stuff, it's where it is. And you will see displays upon this video. So keep watching. Hey, first of all, we'll talk about the physical challenges I've had and why I've ended up looking like this rather than like this. So, in 1996, I did a whole heap of datura and I ended up in the mental hospital for a month on detention, and they gave me some drugs. I took them for a while, then stopped taking them. Then in 1997, I went to Bali and I died in a motorbike accident and was revived after 8 to 10 minutes. I believe that my state of health, which was immaculate, got me through that and helped revive me to life, although the doctors did help too. And so from that, in a couple of times I went to psychiatric hospital again, in between then and this latter 1998 admission. I kept taking the drugs, and after 3 months of taking them, I'd put on 55 kilos, which put me at 125 kilos or something like that. I used to be 65 to 70 kilos. Mental arithmetic, that's about right. So it's 125, 130 kilos. And so that stayed with me for a long time. I have, in the last few years, started to lose weight, which is really positive, and I'm on a bit of a not losing anything, not gaining anything at the moment, so hopefully that will change. And so that's my health. I do believe that with my mental health and all the challenges that I face, I could have died several times. I did die once. I think with all of that, definitely vegetarianism has seen me to a better place than perhaps I would have been without it. Yeah, keeping groovy. So for anything in life, I really believe you've got to know why you're doing it. Whatever floats your boat, right? So that can come in many forms. Now, for me, vegetarianism came upon my being repulsed by things and loving other things. First of all, I love animals so much. When I was a young girl, my friend auntie said she'll end up protesting Save the Whales on government house steps. Now, I am a very sort of protest type of person. A lot of people see me as aggressive, but I see it as getting justice. But I don't go to protests at all, and I advise anyone that's listening not to either. We can cover that another time. So I love animals, and I found myself when I would cook, I was living out of home since I was 18. I started being vegetarian when I was 21, or just before I was 21, hence the 30 years of celebration that we're having. Um, so I loved cooking. I had a boyfriend that I lived with, and I would make him beautiful feasts, like 5 course dishes, 5 course feasts, and every night we'd have 3 courses. I guess that cooking was something that I really loved. I really embraced the housewife sort of thing, but I was also a career woman, so I took it all on. Probably why I ended up in mental hospital, doing drugs and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll cover that never, because I hate talking about it. But I loved cooking, and something that really bothered me was like the feel of meat and having to like cut up bloody stuff and cut the fat off, or like deal with fat in your mouth, and oh, don't mind the fat in my mouth, if you know what I mean. But something yeah, I hated the I have whatever mental illness. I'm not really sure what it is, but I really hate touching certain things and feeling certain ways and stuff like that. So like I'll avoid certain things. So the sensory thing with meat was a big thing for me. And something that a young girl pinpointed for me when I was at her house for dinner with her family. She said, "Oh, I love it when you rip apart chicken and it has that texture." And I thought, oh, that's why I hate it, because you can tell like you're ripping up a living being. So yeah. Um, Reasons for doing it, I've got so many, and we're going to make a long video. Stay tuned. It wouldn't be a video from Amanda J without some food in it. Ah, go figure. But of course, vegetarian. What's it about? Not just saving the animals, but what you eat. So I'm going to show what I'm having for dinner tonight, although you won't see me eating it because I'm not in that mood. So when I moved out of home, I became really interested in growing my own food. That had always been the way of my family, pretty much. My grandpa was a fantastic gardener, both of the grandpas, but I never knew my paternal grandpa. So my mother is a fantastic gardener. We didn't have too many vegetables when I was young, but as she got older, she began to grow more. And when I was living at home, I started off a garden outside of my bedroom window. And so when I moved out of home, I took some of the seeds from there, planted them at the new place, and everywhere I would go, I would plant more seeds, grow more things, gather more pots every time I moved. And um, it, it became a hassle to transport all these pots everywhere. So eventually I moved interstate, and all of that was lost, and like I was living I actually had an interesting experience in Sydney because I lived in Chinatown, and I got to have home cooked, well, not home cooked, restaurant cooked vegan food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the time that I stayed in Sydney, in the main CBD. So that was great. I have gone through periods where I've been vegan, but it's never lasted. So I've never called myself a vegan, even though I do eat a lot of vegan food. So getting back to growing my own food, when I became a homeowner, I had a massive block. I pretty much intentionally bought that so I could plant my own food. And like you come up with the concept, okay, I want to grow my own food. I don't want to slaughter my own food. It's inappropriate in the suburbs to grow, raise animals for slaughter. I had chickens, and I had plenty of eggs. Not all of them were egg-laying chickens, sorry, but I adopted them from a battery farm and raised them to good health, and they were happy chickens. A couple of them were prolific layers, so I made up for the rest. So I still include eggs in my diet, but I'm pretty careful where I get them from, and now that things have been a bit worrying about the bird flu and things like that, I am a bit more wary about having that. I certainly don't eat chickens, and even if I had them in my backyard, I wouldn't eat them. But I don't agree that country killing or bullet to the head, anything like that, is actually a humane way of slaughtering an animal. I don't believe there is a humane way of slaughtering an animal or a being. Basically, if you're ending some being's life, that being's probably not going to agree with you on that one. So it comes with consequence, and I think that people should be more conscious of that, but they're not. And vegetarianism is easier to like prepare for, like, as in like in a garden, or with the prepping for long-term use and things like that. I think you'll find that it's also cheaper, or should I say less expensive, short term and long term, to have a vegetarian diet and go to the supermarket and buy food, especially if you're cooking from scratch, which I like to do. So it's also, like, without question, vegetarianism is environmentally friendly. The meat industry is number one climate killer. So, and if you doubt me, just fucking Google it. My ultimate point being is that vegetarian food is easier to cater for if you're growing your own food. So contemplate that. So now I'll talk about the concept of the health aspect of vegetarianism, which is always overlooked. People say, oh, the vegan diet is best. Oh, no, 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 no. The meat diet is best, but they don't see the in between. So for me, it's something that I really noticed when I went through COVID, catching COVID. This was February 8th, 2020 that I had symptoms of COVID first appear, and it came on straight away. Worst sickness I've ever had. So it got me. And I didn't go to hospital. I didn't use antibiotics until the very end. I'll make that a point. I didn't go doctor, hospital. I healed myself with food, crystal healing, aromatherapy, and primarily discluding some foods and including some foods. If you wanted to look at my reflections on what I went through with COVID-19, I have a short video that you can see on Instagram under Amanda's Loved Up Items. It's my old page and I can't remember my password, so I'm not using it anymore. Yeah, that was something that my doctor told. When I finished having COVID, I had like this chesty cough, probably because I'm a smoker, and a lot of places were saying, oh, no, we don't want you to come in because we know you've got this cough, and we know you've been sick, so we please go away. So I went to the doctors. At that stage, they weren't limiting people going to see a doctor with COVID. We didn't have face masks. There was no lockdown or anything like that. It was before all of that, and they gave me some antibiotics to clear up the cough, and they told me that was the second lot of antibiotics that I'd required since I started going to the practice in the year 2000. So, health. So, I discovered when I was had COVID that there was this method that I was using of eating cheese and digesting the cheese, and I noticed that that was somehow flushing my body. And in my dictionary divination, somehow it came up phage therapy, which is PHAGE, and we'll write it there. And that is using foods as antibacterial sources to work the gut into a better state. And since then I've been very interested in the gut microbiome, and I've done a lot more research into that than I used to. So I'm pretty confident that vegetarianism is the right way to go, because there's I'm not saying none, but there's less of this bacteria that you can find in vegetarian sources than you can in vegan sauces and certainly in meat sauces. So the phage therapy, awesome. And of course, as I said before, I've died, come back to life, was in awesome health beforehand. And I'll even put in a picture of me a few days after I died. And do you like earrings? Because at Loved Up Amanda on Depop, we have so many earrings. I've made some, I've imported some, and they're all there at very reasonable prices. Another thing I've got to say about my health is that I am behind the eight ball, still taking medications, and I have to take that for my mental health. But when I do exercise, I find it really easy to pick that up and start doing that again. For someone my age and of my exercise recent history. I did do a lot of exercise when I was younger, but I wasn't really that good at it. Didn't really like it. But there, I liked things like playing in a team or ballet. When I became a bit older, I loved going out to nightclubs and just dancing all night. So that's something I like to do that was strenuous. And I've always enjoyed going for a walk too. Something about meat eating in particular is that the as soon as you kill something, it starts rotting. As soon as you kill something, it starts a process called rigor mortis, which basically seizes up the whole body, and the body starts to go through processes of decay and fouling. So for me, I do not want that in my body. And another thing, 95% of all food poisoning cases are meat, dairy, fish related, chicken, whatever, chicken salmonella. Now, I'll approach something that perhaps people won't like, but it is something that's important to me, and is that I feel pure when I'm a vegetarian. I don't feel like anyone can blame me for what I'm eating. So, and also in regards to being religious as well, I feel that God can't judge me for a vegetarian diet. I do agree that the Ten Commandments is a good way of living your life, and thou shalt not kill is very important to me, and I think it ranges across everything. You don't just knock something out because, oh, you want to eat it. I believe that humans should have the nous or the rationale to believe that they can exist peacefully without the slaughter of an animal, because I'm living proof that someone can live for 30 years without killing an animal to eat. And I think that people think, oh, you know, you need your protein. And it's like, well, okay, Google where you get your protein from. It ain't meat, mate. Thou shalt not kill. So there is actually a Catholic man who has written a doctrine on the the compassion of Christ, and how it relates to vegetarianism. I do have a copy of it somewhere, but as you notice, I've got a lot of shit, hey? So finding that is another thing. But it'll be great when I find it, and I'll look into passing on copies. So one thing that really upsets me is at Christmas how particularly Christians are so like, oh, I've got to have the turkey blood in me, and I've got to have the ham, and I've got to have all these bloody things to celebrate Christ who died for me so I can commit sin and still go to heaven. Of course, this is not all Christians, and there are some really lovely Christians, and there are some vegetarian Christians. The Christian sect of not Latter-day Saints. Seventh-day Adventists, they're all vegetarian, which I think is wonderful. Maybe I should go there. Something else that this particular Catholic talking man that talks about is the non-violence of Christ, and how we should emulate that with animals also, not just humans or with beer bottles or anything like that. Just don't smash up things, don't kill things in general. Killing an animal, if you've ever seen it in a slaughterhouse, is violent. And if you don't agree with me there, I think you've got something loose. So I prefer to not make a violent thing out of what I'm going to eat, or buy leather shoes that have been stripped off of a cow that suffered and died at the hands of a slaughterhouse worker, just for leather that's going to cost, you know, maybe $5 a meter, and that cow had to die for that. But anyway, I'm not here to pass that sort of reasoning at the moment. We could go into that another time, but at the moment I'm just going to stick to a few basic things just to celebrate and not to perhaps get too worked up. And we've got hilarious shirts like this golf naked one. What more could you want? I've got heaps of vintage clothes and secondhand clothes and some new. So please sign up for Depop. Go crazy in my closet. So there's a thing that I believe, being a pet owner, being someone that enjoys nature, being someone that has a high amount of love to give, is that I have respect for all beings. I don't even like stepping on ants, or like poisoning ants, or poisoning mice, or setting mouse traps and shit like that. Like, it just is not something I want to do, and I'll avoid it in any possible way. And certainly the food in my mouth, I don't want to be the cause of someone else's something or someone. See, I see animals as a being, not just as a thing that someone owns or has a branding on, or can use for other purposes other than just meat for people to eat. So for me, it's respect. I don't know where my cat is, but we all know I have respect for my cat. I'll just talk briefly about cruelty and then we'll wind it up. Do you really have to be cruel to sustain yourself? Is that something that you should ask yourself as a conscious individual who works towards peace? Or don't you want peace? Also, I have some of my artwork for sale on my Depop platform, Loved Up Amanda. Please look and enjoy. You'll find it under posters and hand painted, things like that, those sort of descriptions. Please feel free to scroll through the entire shop. There's so much there.